The stars looked the same as they always did. Cold, distant, unchanging. Junior Surveyor Zenthal sat in the observation deck of the Concordance vessel, Peaceful Discovery, watching the blue and green planet rotate below. This was his 47th survey mission, and he expected it to be as boring as the previous 46 Earth. That's what the inhabitants called it. A young world with a young species that had barely touched their own moon. The Velkath Concordance had been doing this for 10,000 years. They would scan the planet, assess the species, and decide if they were ready for contact. Most species weren't. Most needed another few centuries to mature, to put away their weapons and learn to cooperate. Zenthal activated the scanning array with one of his 3-fingered hands. The sensors reached down through the atmosphere, invisible and undetectable. They would catalog everything: population centers, technology levels, energy output, and most importantly, military capabilities. The Concordance needed to know if a species was dangerous before saying hello. The first results came back quickly. Humans had nuclear weapons. That was expected. Most species discovered atomic energy around this stage of development. The scans showed missiles, armies, navies, and air forces. Zenthal noted the numbers in his report. Standard defensive capabilities for a species that hadn't unified their planet yet. Nothing unusual. He was about to file the report and recommend waiting another 200 years when the AI system made a sound he'd never heard before. A sharp, urgent alarm that made his skin change color with stress. Warning, the AI announced in its calm voice that didn't match the screaming alarm. Anomaly detected. Running extended analysis. Zenthal leaned forward. Anomaly? In 47 surveys, he'd never seen an anomaly. What kind of anomaly? Calculating threat assessment. Please wait. The AI wasn't supposed to do threat assessments on primitive species. They didn't have faster-than-light travel. They couldn't reach the Concordance worlds. What threat could they possibly pose? The scanning array began pulling more data. Zenthal watched in confusion as it accessed human computer networks, downloaded their entertainment, their history books, their scientific databases, their social media. The AI was looking at everything, connecting patterns that Zenthal couldn't see. Minutes passed, then hours. The AI kept working, kept analyzing. Zenthal tried to stop it twice, but the system overrode him. Whatever it found had triggered protocols buried deep in the code, protocols written by the founders of the Concordance 10,000 years ago. Finally, the screen went dark. Then slowly text appeared in glowing red letters. Threat assessment complete, species classification, apex predator designation, death world origin warning level. Crimson recommendation. Do not engage, do not approach, retreat, and monitor from safe distance. Zenthal stared at the screen. His 3 hearts began beating too fast. This had to be a mistake. The system had malfunctioned. It must have. He looked at the planet below, so peaceful and beautiful with its white clouds and blue oceans. How could this be right? He called up the AI's analysis. What he read made his blood run cold. Humans were pursuit predators. They didn't have the speed to catch prey, so they simply ran after it for hours, for days if necessary, until the prey collapsed from exhaustion and heat. Their bodies were designed for endurance, for never stopping, for wearing down anything that ran from them. The gravity on their world was higher than 70% of Concordance planets. Humans who seemed average in strength could overpower most species through sheer physical force. They had eyes on the front of their heads. Predator eyes. Forward-facing for tracking prey, for calculating distance and trajectory. Prey animals had eyes on the sides of their heads to watch for danger. Humans had the eyes of hunters. Their teeth were designed for tearing meat. They were omnivores, yes, but they had the fangs of carnivores hidden behind their lips. But the physical attributes weren't what made the AI classify them as apex predators. It was everything else. Humans had taken other apex predators and domesticated them. Wolves. The most successful pack hunters on their planet. Humans had turned them into thousands of different forms and kept them as companions. They lived with predators in their homes by choice. Their history was an endless cycle of warfare. Humans fought over territory, resources, ideas, and religions. They'd been fighting each other for their entire recorded history. The weapons they created became more deadly with each generation. They went from sharpened sticks to atomic bombs in 10,000 years. Their entertainment celebrated violence. They created stories about war, survival, and combat. They watched fictional battles for fun. They played games where they pretended to fight and kill. Even their sports were often ritualized combat. They had a concept the AI spent 3 paragraphs trying to explain. Spite. Humans would harm themselves if it meant harming an enemy. They would choose mutual destruction over surrender. They would rather die than lose. Zenthal felt sick. He sent the report to the Concordance High Council on the capital world of Velkath Prime. The message would take 3 days to arrive due to the distance. He included everything the AI had found and his own recommendation. Mark this system as forbidden and never return. 3 days later, the response came back. The High Council didn't believe him. Council member Veshara herself appeared on the communication screen. She was from a warrior species, one of the few in the Concordance that remembered what it meant to fight. Her species had conquered the predators on their world through strength and courage. She had scars on her scaled face from battles in her youth. "Junior Surveyor Zenthal," she said, and her voice carried disappointment. "We have reviewed your report. The AI system clearly malfunctioned. These humans are weak. They have no natural armor, no claws, no venom. They can't even survive in their own oceans without technology. You report that their planet's gravity is high, yet they evolved there. It's natural to them, not a strength." Zenthal tried to argue. "Council member, the AI has never been wrong. It assessed 3,000 species and it made a mistake." Veshara's voice was final. "I am authorizing a standard specimen collection. We will take 1 human for study, non-invasive, harmless, and temporary. We will prove these creatures are no threat, and then we can proceed with normal first contact protocols in 200 years. Do you understand your orders?" "Yes, Council member." Zenthal felt his body temperature drop. This was wrong. Every instinct he had said this was wrong. "Good. Select a human from an isolated area, rural location, away from population centers, someone who won't be missed immediately. Bring them aboard, run the standard tests, and return them with their memory suppressed. Simple." The communication ended. Zenthal sat alone in the observation deck, looking at the planet below. The AI's words kept repeating in his mind. Do not engage. Do not approach, but he had his orders. The Concordance Council had spoken. He instructed the ship's systems to scan for an isolated human. The sensors found one quickly, a female, alone in a wilderness area far from cities. She was doing something the translator called camping. Voluntary exposure to nature for recreation. The human's name was Maria Hernandez, and according to the data pulled from human networks, she was a military instructor. Zenthal hesitated when he saw that detail, but Veshara's orders were clear. He activated the transport beam. A column of light reached down through the atmosphere, invisible to human eyes. In seconds, Maria Hernandez dematerialized from Earth and materialized in a containment cell aboard the Peaceful Discovery. Zenthal watched her appear on the monitoring screen. She looked confused but not panicked. She immediately began examining the walls of her cell, testing their strength, looking for exits. The countdown had begun, though Zenthal didn't know it yet. The Concordance had just made the worst mistake in their 10,000-year history. They had captured an apex predator and brought it onto their ship. The High Council chamber on Velkath Prime was built to inspire peace. The walls were made of crystal that caught the light of 3 suns and scattered it into rainbows. Representatives from 12 different species sat in a circle, equals in all things. They had maintained galactic harmony for 10,000 years through wisdom and patience. Zenthal stood in the center of the circle, his body temperature fluctuating with nervousness. He'd been summoned to defend his report in person. Around him, the council members looked at him with expressions ranging from curiosity to dismissal. Council member Veshara spoke first. Her species was reptilian, covered in scales that had evolved to deflect the claws of predators on her homeworld. She was a veteran of the old times before her people had joined the Concordance and put away their weapons. "Junior Surveyor, you have caused quite a disruption," Veshara said. Her voice was steady and strong. "You claim that a species with no natural weapons is the most dangerous we've ever encountered. Please explain this logic to us." Zenthal activated the holographic display. Images of humans appeared, rotating slowly in the air above the council chamber. The AI analyzed more than just their physical form. It examined their evolution, their psychology, and their culture. "The evidence is overwhelming. Show us," said Council Member Thexon, a floating jellyfish-like being whose species had evolved in the oceans of a peaceful world. They had never known predation, had never developed concepts of violence until they met other species. Chenthal pulled up the first file. Humans evolved as pursuit predators. Observe their skeletal structure. These legs are designed for running. Not sprinting, but endurance running. They have a cooling system using water excreted through their skin that allows them to regulate temperature while moving. Most prey animals on Earth overheat when they run. Humans do not. Video footage played showing humans running vast distances across their planet. Marathons. Ultramarathons. Humans running for hours without stopping. Their ancestors hunted by following prey until it collapsed, Zenthal continued. They didn't need to be fast. They just needed to never stop. They are terminators in biological form. Council Member Plixon, a small furry creature whose species was prey on their homeworld, shifted uncomfortably. This is disturbing, but many species have unusual hunting methods. What makes humans special? Their adaptability. Shenthal changed the display. Humans live in every climate on their planet. Frozen poles, burning deserts, dense jungles, high mountains, deep valleys. They adapt. They don't wait for evolution. They use technology and culture to survive anywhere. More images appeared. Humans in spacesuits, humans in submarines, humans climbing mountains that should kill them, humans diving to depths that should crush them. They are not content with their environment, Zenthal said. They change it or overcome it. This is not normal behavior, Vishara laughed. It was a harsh barking sound. This proves they're resourceful, not dangerous. Many species adapt. Then explain this. Zenthal pulled up humanity's history of warfare. The display showed thousands of years of conflict. Swords and spears evolving into guns and missiles, castles becoming bunkers, becoming missile silos. They have been fighting wars for their entire recorded history, Zenthal said quietly. Not occasional conflicts over resources. Constant warfare. They have weapons designed to kill other humans specifically. They study the art of killing. They teach it in schools. They have entire institutions dedicated to creating better warriors. The council chamber fell silent. The images continued to play. Battles, explosions, soldiers training, weapons testing. Their entertainment glorifies combat, Zenthal added. They create fictional stories about war and survival. They play games where they simulate killing. Even their children's toys are often miniature weapons. Council Member Thexon floated closer to the display. Surely this is exaggerated. What species would choose to be so violent? A species shaped by their world. Zenthal pulled up information about Earth. Their planet has experienced 5 mass extinction events. The last one killed 75% of all species. Earth is a death world. It produces hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, volcanoes, and tsunamis regularly. The humans call these natural disasters and simply live with them. Impossible, whispered Plixon. No one could thrive in such conditions. Humans do. They build cities in earthquake zones. They live on islands with active volcanoes. They settle in areas hit by hurricanes every year. They refuse to leave. They dig in and survive. Zenthal took a breath before continuing. But the most concerning finding is this. He pulled up the psychological profiles. Humans have a trait the AI struggled to categorize. They call it spite. If threatened, humans will sometimes choose mutual destruction over surrender. They would rather die than lose. They would rather harm themselves than let an enemy win. The council members looked at each other with confusion. Several asked for clarification. The concept of choosing death over survival was alien to them. During their wars, humans have fought to the last soldier. They have chosen nuclear annihilation over occupation. They have a saying, if I'm going down, I'm taking you with me. This is their mindset. Bashara stood up from her seat. Her scales caught the light as she moved to the center of the chamber. You make them sound like monsters. I see frightened prey who developed aggression to survive. Nothing more. Council member, please reconsider. No. Bashara's voice cut through the chamber. I have heard enough. These humans have no faster than light travel. They have barely left their planet. They cannot reach us. They are not a threat to the Concordance. Zenthal felt desperation rising. The AI has assessed 3,000 species across 10,000 years. It has never given a crimson classification, never, not once. Doesn't that mean something? It means the AI is old and malfunctioned, Bashara said. To prove this, I propose a simple test. We perform a standard specimen collection. One human. We bring them aboard, run our tests, and see for ourselves if they are truly dangerous. That violates protocol, Zenthal protested. Species classified as crimson are never a protocol based on a faulty classification. Bashara looked around the chamber. I call for a vote. Who supports specimen collection to verify the junior surveyor's claims? 11 hands, tentacles, and appendages rose in agreement. Only Zenthal remained silent. The vote is decided, Bashara announced. Zenthal, you will collect one human specimen. Rural location, isolated individual. Bring them aboard your vessel. We will run non-invasive tests for 72 hours, then return them unharmed with memory suppression. If they prove to be as dangerous as you claim, I will personally apologize. If not, you will accept that the AI made an error. Agreed? Zenthal had no choice. Agreed, council member. As the council dismissed him, Zenthal felt a cold certainty settle into his 3 hearts. This was wrong. The AI had been right. He knew it in his bones, in his DNA, in every instinct his prey species ancestors had given him. They were about to poke a sleeping predator with a stick. Bashara approached him as he prepared to leave. Zenthal, I understand your concern, but look at the facts. These humans are small, weak creatures who happen to evolve on a difficult world. Yes, they fight among themselves. Yes, they are violent by our standards, but they're still confined to one planet. They can't hurt us. I hope you're right, council member. I am. Bashara placed a scaled hand on his shoulder. I have fought real predators. I have faced death and survived. These humans don't frighten me. You'll see. In 3 days, we'll all laugh about this. Zenthal returned to his ship. He selected the human carefully. A female named Maria Hernandez. The database said she was a military instructor. He noted this in his report as a risk factor, but his orders were clear. The transport beam activated. Maria Hernandez disappeared from a forest on Earth and appeared in a containment cell designed for passive observation. Zenthal watched her on the monitors. She wasn't panicking. She was thinking, planning, observing. He sent a message to Council Member Bashara. Specimen collected. Beginning observation period. Recommend extreme caution. The response came back quickly. Caution noted. Proceed with testing. Stop worrying, Junior Surveyor. What's the worst one human can do? Zenthal didn't answer. He just watched Maria Hernandez examining the walls of her cell with calm, calculating eyes. The eyes of a predator. Maria Hernandez woke up in a room that wasn't her tent. The transition from sleeping to fully alert took less than 3 seconds. Years of military training had taught her to assess situations quickly. The walls were smooth and white, with no visible seams or doors. The air smelled sterile and slightly wrong, like a hospital, but different. Overhead, soft light came from panels she couldn't identify. She was lying on a platform that adjusted to her body shape, comfortable but unfamiliar. She sat up slowly, keeping her breathing steady. Panic would help nothing. First rule of survival: gather information. The room was maybe 3 meters by 3 meters. No windows, no obvious cameras, but she assumed she was being watched. The walls had a faint shimmer to them, like a heat mirage. Some kind of energy field, probably. She was wearing her camping clothes still. Her watch was gone. Her knife was gone. Her phone was gone. Kidnapping, then. But by whom? And how? She remembered going to sleep in the San Bernardino National Forest. No one had been within 20 miles of her campsite. She'd made sure of that. Hello? She called out. Her voice sounded flat in the space, absorbed by something. A section of the wall became transparent. Maria's heart rate jumped, but she controlled it. On the other side of the transparent barrier stood 3 beings that were absolutely not human. The tallest one was thin and gray, with 3 fingers on each hand and large black eyes. The second looked like a cross between a squid and a jellyfish, floating in the air without any visible means of support. The third was small and covered in blue fur, with 4 arms and a face that looked almost like a cat. Maria stared at them. They stared back at her. Aliens. Real aliens. Every government on Earth would pay billions for this information. Every scientist would give their career to be in her position. And all Maria could think was, they made a mistake taking me. The tall gray one made sounds that her ears couldn't process. Then, a moment later, a voice came from everywhere and nowhere, speaking perfect English. Please do not be alarmed. You are safe. We mean you no harm. My name is. The sounds that came next hurt to hear. But you may call me Zenthal. We are scientists from the Velkath Concordance. We brought you here to learn about your species. Maria kept her face calm. Kidnapping. That's what you did. You kidnapped me. The floating jellyfish creature made sounds. The translation followed. A crude term. We prefer specimen collection. You will not be harmed. In 3 days, we will return you to your planet with no memory of this encounter. Memory suppression, Maria said. You're going to mess with my brain. Only to remove traumatic memories, Zenthal said. It's painless. It's for your own benefit. Maria filed that information away. They could manipulate memories. That was important. She looked around the cell again, this time more carefully. The shimmer in the walls pulsed at regular intervals. 2 seconds on, 1 second off. Pattern recognition was her specialty. What do you want from me? She asked. The small furry one spoke. We wish to run tests. Physical scans, mental assessments. We want to understand humanity better. Will you cooperate? Maria smiled. It wasn't a friendly smile. Do I have a choice? Of course, Zenthal said. We are not monsters. If you refuse, we will simply keep you comfortable until the time period ends, then return you home. Lie. Maria could hear it in the translation, see it in the body language of the aliens. They'd keep her either way, but they wanted her cooperative. That gave her leverage. I'll cooperate, she said, on one condition. You answer my questions too. I want to learn about you. The 3 aliens looked at each other. Some unspoken communication passed between them. Finally, Zenthal nodded. Acceptable. We will exchange information. It's only fair. Good. Maria sat back on the platform. Ask your questions. For the next 6 hours, they ran tests. Lights scanned her body. Machines she couldn't identify hummed and beeped around her. They asked her to perform physical tasks, jumping, running in place, lifting objects. They asked her questions about Earth, about human culture, about her personal history. Maria answered truthfully, mostly. She lied about 3 things, small details to see if they could detect deception. They couldn't. The aliens took her words at face value. They were scientists, not interrogators. They assumed honesty. That was weakness number 1. She learned their names, or at least the names they gave her. Zenthal was the tall gray one. Pixin was the small furry one. Veshara was the floating jellyfish, though Veshara never came close to the containment field. She observed from a distance, through cameras. During breaks, Maria asked her questions. She learned about the concordance. 12 species, all peaceful. 10,000 years of harmony. No wars in living memory. They explored the galaxy looking for new friends, new civilizations to welcome into their alliance. How do you defend yourselves? Maria asked during one break. Pixin tilted their head in confusion. Defend? From what? Hostile species, pirates, invaders, someone who wants what you have. We have encountered no hostile species, Pixin said proudly. All intelligent life seeks peace and cooperation. It's the natural evolution of consciousness. Maria filed that away. Weakness number 2. They'd never fought a war. They had no concept of tactics, strategy, or deception in combat. They were pacifists by choice and by nature. She watched them work, watched how they moved, how they interacted with their technology. The containment field was controlled by a panel near the transparent wall. The panel had 3 buttons that pulsed with light. The lights synchronized with the shimmer in the walls. 2 seconds on, 1 second off. She measured distances with her eyes. From the platform to the wall, 4 meters. From the wall to the control panel, 2 meters. From the control panel to the door, 3 meters. Total, 9 meters. She could cover 9 meters in under 3 seconds at a full sprint. On the second day, Maria asked for water and food. They provided both, passing them through a small opening in the containment field. The opening appeared for exactly 5 seconds, then closed. Maria timed it carefully, counting in her head while she drank. 5 seconds. Enough time to get through if she was fast. She noticed other things too. The aliens had a schedule. Every 4 hours they changed shifts. During the change, there was a 3-minute period where only one alien was in the room. Usually Pixin. The small furry one was friendly and curious. They liked Maria. They thought she was fascinating. Weakness number 3. They trusted her. On the evening of the second day, Pixin brought her dinner. The small alien was alone. The shift change was happening. Maria could hear voices outside the room, the sounds of others leaving. "Pixin," Maria said, "can I ask you something personal?" The alien's ears perked up. "Of course. What's your planet like? Your home?" Pixin's eyes lit up. They began describing a world of forests and meadows, of cities built in harmony with nature. They talked about their family, their children, their hopes of being a great scientist. While Pixin talked, Maria moved closer to the transparent wall. Just being friendly, just interested. The alien didn't notice the predator getting into position. "It sounds beautiful," Maria said. "I'd love to see it someday." "Perhaps you could," Pixin said. "If humanity joins the Concordance, you could visit any of our worlds. That would be amazing." Maria crouched down as if getting comfortable. Her legs were coiled springs. "Could you show me pictures?" "Yes." Pixin reached for the control panel to pull up images on the transparent wall. The containment field flickered. 2 seconds on, 1 second off. Maria exploded into motion. She crossed 4 meters in 1 second. Her fist hit the transparent wall during the 1-second gap when the field dropped. The wall wasn't meant to stop physical force, only contain energy. It cracked. Pixin screamed. Their 4 arms reached for an alarm. Maria hit the wall again. It shattered. She was through. 2 seconds. She grabbed Pixin's arm, not hard enough to hurt, but firm enough to control. The alien froze in terror. 3 seconds. She grabbed a tool from the nearby workstation. It looked like a wrench. Good enough. 4 seconds. The door opened as another alien entered. Zenthal. His black eyes went wide. "Don't move," Maria said quietly. "Don't press any alarms. Don't call for help." Zenthal stood completely still. His body had turned a pale color, almost white. Maria pulled Pixin close, using the alien as a shield. She hated doing it, but survival came first. "I want a communication device. I want to contact my planet. I want to go home. Nobody gets hurt if you cooperate." You were cooperating," Zenthal whispered. "You were friendly." "I was surviving," Maria corrected. "I'm a soldier. You kidnapped me. Did you think I'd just accept that?" Pixin was shaking in her grip. Maria felt bad about that. The little alien had been kind to her. But kindness didn't matter when you were a prisoner. "The analysis was right," Zenthal said. His voice sounded broken. "Apex predator. We should have listened." "Yes," Maria agreed. "You should have. Now let's talk about getting me home." The alarm finally went off 12 minutes after Maria's escape. She'd expected it sooner. The aliens were slow to react to threats. They'd probably never had a containment breach before. Maria had moved fast after taking control of the observation room. She'd sealed the door using the control panel, grabbed everything that looked useful, and hauled Pixin and Zenthal into the corner. She kept the improvised wrench in her hand but made no threatening moves. The aliens were terrified enough without her acting aggressive. "I need you both to understand something," Maria said, keeping her voice calm and level. "I don't want to hurt anyone. I want to go home. That's all. But I've been trained to survive in hostile situations, and I will do what's necessary." Pixin was crying. The small alien's fur was soaked with tears. "Please don't hurt us. We have families, children." "I know," Maria said, and she felt the weight of those words. "You told me about them, remember? 3 children. 2 girls and a boy. They're waiting for you to come home." That seemed to surprise Pixin. The alien looked up with wide, wet eyes. "You remember?" I remember everything you told me, Maria said. I'm a soldier, not a monster. I don't want your family to lose you, but I need your help. Zenthal had turned from pale white to a darker gray. His body was shaking. The security team will come. They have weapons. Weapons? Maria raised an eyebrow. I thought the Concordance was peaceful. Stun weapons, Zenthal explained. For sedating dangerous animals, or specimens who become hostile. Maria processed that. Stun weapons meant non-lethal. That was good and bad. Good because they wouldn't try to kill her. Bad because they could incapacitate her without guilt. How many in the security team? 6, Zenthal swallowed. Trained professionals. Maria looked around the room. She had maybe 5 minutes before they arrived. The space was full of scientific equipment, computers, scanning devices. Nothing obviously weapon-like. But she didn't need weapons. She needed tools. Help me understand your technology, Maria said, pointing at the control panel. What do these buttons do? Zenthal hesitated. Pixon made a sound of protest. If you help me, no one gets hurt, Maria said. If you don't help me, I'll have to figure it out myself. That might involve breaking things. Maybe important things. The threat was mild but effective. Zenthal began explaining the controls. Door locks, atmospheric controls, gravity adjustments, energy field generators. Maria listened carefully, asking questions, making him repeat details. She was buying time, learning the ship's systems. But more importantly, she was establishing a pattern. Talk first, violence last. Make them see her as reasonable, as someone who could be negotiated with. When the security team arrived, they found the door sealed. Maria heard them outside, heard the sounds of tools working on the lock. She had maybe 2 minutes. She adjusted the gravity in the corridor outside to 1.5 times normal. Not enough to crush anyone, but enough to make them sluggish. Then she vented some of the atmosphere, reducing the oxygen by 10%. Again, not dangerous, but disorienting. What are you doing? Zenthal asked. Leveling the playing field, Maria said. Your people evolved on low-gravity worlds, right? I checked the database. Most concordant species prefer 0.7 to 0.9 Earth gravity. Zenthal nodded weakly. Humans evolved at 1 full gravity, higher than yours. That means I'm naturally stronger, faster, and more resistant to pressure. In a physical fight, I win, but I'm not going to fight them. I'm going to make them understand that fighting me is a bad idea. The door burst open. 6 aliens rushed in, wearing armor and carrying devices that looked like large flashlights. Stun weapons. They moved slower than they should have, struggling with the increased gravity. Maria moved before they could aim. She grabbed a metal tray from the workstation and threw it. The tray spun through the air and hit the lead alien's weapon, knocking it from their grip. The alien stumbled backward, confused. 2 seconds. Maria grabbed a bottle of some liquid chemical and threw it at the ceiling. It shattered, spreading a mist through the air. The aliens coughed and backed away. The chemical wasn't dangerous, just irritating to their sensitive respiratory systems. 4 seconds. She kicked a wheeled cart toward 2 more aliens. They tried to dodge, but the increased gravity made them clumsy. The cart hit them and they went down in a tangle. 6 seconds. 3 aliens remained standing, but they were hesitant now. They'd expected an easy capture. They'd gotten chaos. Stop, Maria shouted. Nobody needs to get hurt. One of the aliens fired their stun weapon. A blue pulse of energy shot toward Maria. She dropped low and the pulse hit the wall behind her. The alien's aim was off. The increased gravity was throwing off their coordination. Maria picked up the wrench again. I don't want to fight you. I want to talk to whoever's in charge. Get me Vishara. Now. The security team leader, a thick-skinned alien with 4 eyes, made a gesture. The team stopped advancing. You're contained. There's nowhere to go. Wrong, Maria said. I'm in a room full of scientific equipment. I understand your technology now. I can cause a lot of damage if I want to. Explosive decompression, radiation leaks, chemical fires. I'm a demolitions expert. It's one of the things I teach. That was a lie. Maria knew basic explosives, but she wasn't an expert. But the aliens didn't know that. They looked at each other nervously. Or, Maria continued, we can skip all that and have a conversation. Your choice. 5 minutes later, Vishara appeared on a screen in the observation room. The floating jellyfish looked furious. Her translucent body was flashing colors that Maria guessed meant anger or stress. Staff Sergeant Hernandez, Vishara said, her voice sharp. You have assaulted my crew and disrupted this vessel. Explain yourself. You kidnapped me, Maria said bluntly. You took me from my planet without permission. You imprisoned me. You planned to alter my memories. Everything I've done is self-defense under the laws of war. Laws of war? Vishara's body flashed red. There is no war here. We meant you no harm. Intent doesn't matter. Actions matter. You committed an act of aggression against a citizen of Earth. My government will consider this an act of war. That made Vishara pause. Your government doesn't know you're gone. Yet, Maria said. But they will. I was on a hiking trail that I'm supposed to finish in 4 days. When I don't check in, they'll send searchers. When they find my camp abandoned with all my gear still there, they'll investigate. And you know what they'll find? Radiation signatures, energy readings, evidence of your transport beam. Another lie. Maria had no idea if Earth's technology could detect alien transport beams, but Vishara didn't know what Earth could or couldn't detect. We can return you before then, Vishara said. Unharmed. Memory intact if you insist. This incident can be forgotten. Can it? Maria gestured to the security team, still struggling with the modified gravity. I've disabled your security, taken hostages, and learned how to use your ship's systems. All in under 20 minutes. One human did this. One soldier. Imagine what an entire military could do. Is that a threat? It's a fact, Maria said. Earth has 8 billion humans. About 1% serve in military roles. That's 80 million soldiers. We've been fighting wars for 10,000 years. We've gotten very, very good at it. Vishara was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke again, her voice was different. Less angry. More thoughtful. The AI classified your species as apex predators. We didn't believe it. We thought it malfunctioned. It didn't malfunction, Maria said quietly. Humans are predators. We evolved to hunt. We learned to kill. But we also learned to cooperate, to build societies, to create art and music and literature. We're more than just killers. But when threatened, yes, we're dangerous. I see that now. Vishara floated closer to the screen. What do you want, Staff Sergeant Hernandez? Go home, safe, unharmed. And I want to promise that the Concordance will leave Earth alone until we're ready for contact. On our terms, when we choose. And in exchange? In exchange, I won't tell my superiors about this. I'll say I got lost, hit my head, and woke up confused. No one will know about you. Your secret stays safe. Vishara considered this. Why would you protect us? Maria smiled. Because I think the Concordance means well. You're peaceful. You explore to make friends, not enemies. That's admirable. But you need to understand something. Humans aren't ready to join your alliance. We're still learning to get along with each other. Give us time. A few 100 years. Let us grow up. Then maybe we can be the friends you're looking for. And if we refuse your terms, then I tell my government everything. They'll prepare. They'll weaponize. When you finally make contact, you won't meet scientists and diplomats. You'll meet soldiers and warships. Is that what you want? The answer was obvious in the way Vishara's body dimmed. No, that is not what we want. Then we have a deal. An hour later, Maria stood in the transport chamber. Zenthal was there to see her off. The gray alien looked tired and shaken, but relieved. I'm sorry we took you, he said. It was arrogant and foolish. Yes, it was, Maria agreed. But you're returning me safely. That counts for something. Will you really keep our secret? Maria thought about that. I'll try. But Earth is changing fast. We'll develop better sensors, better spacecraft. Eventually, we'll find evidence of extraterrestrial life. 3 days after Maria returned to Earth, Zenthal sat in his quarters aboard the Peaceful Discovery, writing his final report. His 3 hands moved across the holographic keyboard, documenting everything that had happened. The truth. The whole truth. The document was titled, Revised Assessment of Species Sol 3, commonly known as Humanity. He began with an apology. To the High Council, to the Concordance, and to the AI system that had been right all along. Then he wrote what he'd learned. Humans were not just predators. They were adaptable apex predators shaped by a hostile world. Their planet had tried to kill them for millions of years with ice ages, volcanic eruptions, and mass extinctions. Instead of dying, humans evolved. Instead of accepting their environment, they changed it. But that wasn't what made them truly dangerous. What made them dangerous was their minds. Humans could think tactically within seconds of waking in an unknown environment. They could identify weaknesses in systems they'd never seen before. They could lie, manipulate, and deceive with casual ease. They could be kind and compassionate while simultaneously planning an escape. Maria Hernandez had been one human, one soldier. She'd disabled a security team, taken hostages, threatened to destroy the ship, and negotiated her freedom. All without killing anyone. She'd shown restraint even when she had every tactical advantage. That restraint, Zenthal wrote, was perhaps the most terrifying thing of all. It meant humans could choose not to kill, which meant when they did choose to kill, it was deliberate, calculated, purposeful. He included his recommendations. The concordance should mark the Sol system as restricted space. They should monitor from a distance. They should wait for humans to develop faster-than-light travel on their own. And when first contact finally happened, it should be on neutral ground, with heavy diplomatic preparation. Most importantly, never, ever underestimate humanity again. Zenthal sent the report to Velkath Prime and waited for the response. It came from Vishara herself. She requested a private communication. When her image appeared on the screen, she looked different, older somehow, tired. "I read your report," she said without preamble. "Every word. I owe you an apology, Junior Surveyor. You were right. I was wrong. Thank you, Council Member. Don't thank me. I nearly started a war through my arrogance." Vishara's body pulsed with colors Zenthal had never seen before. Shame, he realized. She was feeling shame. That human could have killed Pixon. She could have killed all of us. She had the knowledge and the ability. But she chose not to. Why? "She said she wasn't a monster," Zenthal replied. "I believe her. Humans have the capacity for great violence, but also for great mercy. They're complicated." "Complicated," Vishara repeated. "We've encountered 3,000 species over 10,000 years. None of them were complicated. They were all simple, peaceful, cooperative. Why are humans different?" Zenthal had spent 3 days thinking about that question. Because they're still growing. The other species we contacted had already passed through their violent phase. They'd evolved beyond warfare. Humans haven't. They're still fighting, still competing, still struggling. They're rough around the edges. And that makes them dangerous. Yes, but it also makes them strong. Zenthal pulled up footage of Maria in the observation room. Watch this moment. When she first escaped, she had a clear path to seriously hurt Pixon. She could have used violence to ensure compliance, but she didn't. She chose control over harm. That's not the action of a mindless predator. That's the action of someone who understands consequences. Vishara watched the footage in silence. Finally, she spoke. "What happens when they reach the stars?" "I don't know," Zenthal admitted. "But I think we need to be ready. Not for war. For contact, real contact. We need to approach them as equals, not as primitives we're uplifting. Humans won't accept condescension. They'll demand respect. And if they're hostile, then we'll have the most dangerous species in known space as enemies." Zenthal let that sink in. But if we approach them correctly, we might gain the most powerful allies the Concordance has ever had. Vishara made a sound that the translator rendered as a sigh. "I'm recommending your report to the full High Council. This will change our protocols for centuries to come. Species like humanity, they require a new approach. What about Maria Hernandez? Are we monitoring her?" "From a distance. Very far distance." Vishara showed him sensor readings from Earth. "She returned to her military base 2 days ago. She filed a report saying she got disoriented during her hiking trip and needed an extra day to find her way back. Her superiors accepted the explanation. She kept her promise then. She didn't reveal us. She kept her promise," Vishara agreed. "But look at this." She pulled up another data stream. 3 hours after she returned, she attended a meeting with high-ranking military officials. The meeting was classified. We couldn't penetrate their security without revealing our presence. Zenthal felt his body temperature drop. "You think she told them? I think she's doing exactly what she said she would do. Protecting her species. If I were her, I'd tell my leaders about a potential threat, classify the information at the highest level and prepare quietly. That's what a good soldier would do. Then we should expect humanity to start preparing for contact." "Yes." Vishara's body flashed a color that meant grim determination, which is why I'm establishing a permanent monitoring station at the edge of their solar system. We need to know when they develop faster than light travel. We need to be ready. 6 months passed. The Concordance monitoring station, hidden in the Kuiper belt beyond Pluto, watched Earth with patient eyes. They observed as humanity launched more satellites, as they sent more probes to Mars, as their technology improved year by year. The station was staffed by Zenthal and a small crew of specialists. They had orders to remain hidden and report any significant developments. The significant development came on a cold Tuesday morning. Earth time. "Contact," shouted the sensor operator, a nervous young Concordance member named Kickstar, detecting an unusual energy signature heading our way from Earth. Zenthal rushed to the sensor station. His 3 hearts began racing. What kind of signature? Fusion drive. Primitive but functional. It's a spacecraft. A human spacecraft. Impossible. They don't have the technology for interplanetary travel beyond their inner solar system. Well, they do now. Kickstar pulled up the visual feed. A small ship, sleek and angular, was accelerating toward their position. "They're heading right for us." "How did they know we're here?" Zenthal checked the stealth systems. "All operational. No emissions. No visible profile. The station should be completely invisible to human sensors, unless humans had developed better sensors." "Hail them," Zenthal ordered. "If they know we're here, hiding is pointless." The communication went out. For a long moment there was no response. Then a voice came through the speakers. A human voice. Female. Familiar. "Concordance vessel, this is Captain Maria Hernandez of the Earth spacecraft Pathfinder. We detected your monitoring station 6 months ago. We've been building this ship to come say hello. Permission to approach?" Zenthal couldn't help it. He laughed. The sound surprised him. When had he last laughed? "Captain Hernandez, this is Zenthal." Permission granted. "Welcome to space." An hour later, Maria Hernandez floated into the monitoring station wearing a bulky spacesuit. When she removed her helmet, she was smiling. "Zenthal, good to see you again. Captain Hernandez, that's a promotion. Turns out saving Earth from a potential alien threat looks good on a resume." Maria's smile widened. "Don't worry, I kept your secret. Only about 50 people on Earth know you exist. All of them have top security clearance. Only 50? Zenthal felt relief wash over him. "That was manageable. For now," Maria added. "But that's going to change. Humanity is ready for first contact, Zenthal. We've debated it, prepared for it, and decided we want to join the galactic community. On our terms as equals." "Equals," Zenthal repeated. "Yes, I believe that's appropriate." Maria looked around the monitoring station with interest. "So this is where you've been watching us. Learning our strengths and weaknesses. Planning how to handle us. We're cautious by nature. Smart." Maria turned back to him. "I have a proposal from my government. We want to establish formal diplomatic relations with the Concordance. We want to share technology, culture, and knowledge. We want to be friends. And if the Concordance refuses, then we'll be disappointed. But we'll respect your decision. We're not going to force ourselves on you." Maria's expression became serious. "But you should know, we're going to the stars either way. With or without the Concordance. We'd prefer to go as allies rather than strangers." Zenthal thought about the High Council's reaction to this news. Some would be terrified. Some would be intrigued. All of them would be cautious. "I'll relay your proposal to Velkath Prime," he said. "But I should warn you, the Concordance moves slowly. We debate, we consider. We take our time. We can be patient," Maria said. "We've waited this long. But while we're waiting, maybe we could start small. Exchange some information.
Get to know each other?"
That seems reasonable." Maria grinned. "Great, I brought coffee. Real Earth coffee. Want to try it?" Over coffee, which Zenthal found surprisingly pleasant despite the caffeine. Maria explained what had happened after her return.